The morning air hummed with sterile anticipation as Sam and Becky stepped into the gleaming, whitewashed halls of McDonald's Pharmaceuticals. Their crisp lab coats, freshly pressed, practically glowing, marked the start of a new chapter. A coveted position and a chance to impress those who watched from the towering heights of senior management. The two were given an assignment, a trial to determine their competence for the role. Sam, meticulous and measured, absorbed every word of the instructions with the reverence of a scholar studying ancient texts. Becky, meanwhile, fluttered between seasoned employees, laughing, ingratiating herself with effortless charm. She cast sidelong glances at Sam, smirking at his solemn approach to the task, utterly oblivious to the gnawing fear that clawed at him, a fear far greater than mere social alienation. Failure. Then the trial began. Becky went first. She approached the workstation with an air of assured ease, carefree, unburdened. But as she moved, her confidence unraveled. Her hands darted haphazardly, like leaves caught in a sharp breeze. Her actions lacked rhythm, structure, cohesion. Flasks clinked too harshly against steel. She almost spilled something dangerous. Sam stepped up next. The room quieted. His hands moved smoothly, precisely, as though he were orchestrating a delicate symphony of chemicals. There was a grace in his gestures, a deliberate precision that spoke of mastery. The supervisor watched, unblinking, then finally murmured one word: genius. A shadow flickered across Becky's face. She disappeared down the hallway, the sharp clack of her heels striking the pristine floors like tiny hammer blows. When she returned, she was flushed with indignation. Sam's skill, she insisted, was the product of years in the field, granting him an unfair advantage. She had not been given a fair chance, but the truth was far from what Becky believed. Sam had spent fewer years in the industry than she, and yet because he had always been held to a higher standard, his skills had sharpened and refined like a blade against stone. Becky, unchallenged in her ascent, had never needed to prove herself, never needed to fight for her place. She found solace in her natural advantages. The effortless sway she held over the room, the admiration granted to her for nothing more than the golden cascade of her hair. Time marched on. Sam continued to excel, his name spoken in hushed admiration. Becky lingered in mediocrity, bumbling through each task with well-practiced carelessness. It was a mystery why she remained, until one looked closer. The supervisor, a man governed not only by reason but by inclination, harbored a peculiar fondness for flaxen-haired women. And so, faced with a choice, a chemist of irrefutable talent or a woman of golden charm, the company made its decision. Sam was dismissed. Becky remained. Days faded into months, months into years. The supervisor and Becky grew close, first in quiet conversations behind closed doors, then in stolen moments, then in vows spoken before family and friends. They married, they had children, 3 bright-eyed offspring who knew nothing of Sam, and unlike him, they lived happily ever after.